Hey, good morning. This is Coleman from Smartcat. Thank you for joining us for this webinar on scaling L&D course translation with AI. Now, that's more of a broad framework. What we really want to focus on today is how this AI technology can really help you with your 2023 budget and 2024 planning, because many of our clients are seeing incredible results from using Smartcat AI translation and other capabilities to manage their budget and reduce the costs. So joining me today, I have Jean-Luc and Igor, also from Smartcat, and we're going to open up with an overview of AI, of Smartcat AI in use at our customers, and then we're going to do a deep dive into the product itself so you can really see for yourself how this works. So we have people continuing to join. I'm just going to wait a few minutes until everybody's on board, and then we'll get started. So thanks. Again, if you just joined us, this is Coleman with Smartcat, along with Jean-Luc and Igor. We're going to be walking through the Smartcat AI translation capabilities today and showing you in real world expressions how this is helping our clients save a significant amount of money, particularly in L&D course translation, which they can then reapply to either translating more content or developing higher quality content that can be used to increase engagement and learning ROI. And on that topic, we will open with just a kind of an evaluation of what is learning ROI, what really matters in to organizations in 2024. We're just going to wait one more minute while more people join, and then we'll get started. So sit tight. Also, if you do have any questions during the webinar, please feel free to put those in the Q&A. When they go in the Q&A, they go into a queue. If we don't get to answer them live during the session, everything is being recorded, and we will answer all of those questions and share the answers afterwards, along with the recording and a transcript. So sit tight, and we'll get started shortly. All right, well, let's get moving. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Coleman. I'm joined by my companions, Jean-Luc and Igor from Smartcat. And we're going to go over how AI translation, specifically with Smartcat, can help you optimize your L&D budget by reducing the cost of translation and shifting it to other areas of your learning process. So first up, we'll talk a little bit about L&D budgets and ROI specifically, what matters. Talk how our customers are really optimizing their budgets using Smartcat. And then we'll get into a demo of the product, and we'll show you real live examples of how you can use Smartcat today to significantly reduce the cost of translation. And it's not just a cost savings, it's also quality improvement, and turnaround time gets significantly enhanced. But let's just start with what's happening. What should you anticipate in 2024 when it comes to L&D budgeting and how you measure the results of that? So we've heard this from our clients. We've heard this at many of the events that we've done in 2023, but aligning L&D activities to business goals is an overarching umbrella statement that we hear. Now, that's not always easy if you're somewhat disconnected from the business goals, especially if you are in a centralized learning team and you've got a globally distributed business with many sub-brands or different geos. But overall, these three that I've pulled out on the left are the ones that we hear most from our customers and from industry leaders. So Developing people-centric culture, especially post-pandemic, is something that many organizations are focused on at a strategic level. Aligning the output of the learning teams to business goals, whether that's revenue generation or acquisition of absorbing new brands or expanding into new markets. That's also a big driver. But the third thing that really comes to the surface and that we're going to address directly is this reality that while budgets have been going up a little bit for L&D, they certainly increased in 2022 and 2023, they're not continuing to increase significantly. What we've heard is that maybe there will be some budget increases in 2024, but likely it'll be flat. So the challenge to you is, how do you hit these goals with no increase or minimal increase in budget? And when it comes to ROI measurement, I'm not going to walk through the list on the right. I pulled this from the LinkedIn talent blog. You can pop out there and pull this list yourself. But all of these play into those two umbrella terms on the left, like developing a people-centric culture and aligning it to business goals. So then the challenge is always, how do you do that with your existing budget or with a modestly increased budget? So before I get into that, I just wanted to give you a quick introduction to Smartcat for those of you that are not familiar with the platform. Smartcat is a language AI platform, and that's composed of multiple systems or capabilities. AI translation is one of the biggest capabilities that we offer, and one of the areas where you will see significant cost savings by shifting translations from an agency, for example, to AI translation. We can translate dozens of file types, pretty much all of the major tools that you use in developing course content. You can translate those directly with Smartcat. We've got a great integration with Articulate, which Jean-Luc will demo in a little bit. But we work with many different file formats, whether it's Office Suite or video files, Storyline, Figma. We've got you covered. The next piece is our marketplace, which is a pre-vetted marketplace of over 500,000 translators, linguists, professionals who can validate the translation. And it's directly integrated into the platform. So you can run the machine translation, get an automatic translation of your course content in a few minutes. And then using the project management capabilities, feed that directly to a validator or an editor that you've sourced from our marketplace. And then the final component is procurement and payment. So we will handle paying those people directly. All you need is to have a contract with Smartcat, and then you can overnight get AI automatic translation of your content. You can get access to in-country validators that are on our network. You can manage that project automatically using AI-powered workflows. And most especially, you don't need to get additional contracts for each of those in-country freelancers. We can take care of that for you. So that's an overview of Smartcat. Let's get into how it's helping our clients save money. And it's not just save money, but let's start with the save money. So we've benchmarked our customers over 500 enterprise accounts, and these are the average results that we're seeing. After this, I'll get into some specifics of individual accounts, but on average, our clients are seeing a 78% reduction in the cost of translation. So if you were paying, $100 before or $1,000, now you're going to be paying $120 or $12, depending on the volume. The other big thing is the accuracy of the translations that you get from Smartcat. So with the very first pass of the automatic translation, the machine translation, you will get, on average, over 95% accuracy on that translation. And again, if you add in an editor who goes back into the translation, does those final tweaks, that gets written back into our database. So the next time your quality will go up. So overall, you should see progressively better quality on the first time translation. And then the big thing is the turnaround time. So with machine translation or AI translation, you get your results literally in minutes. You can Jean-Luc will demo this with a Figma course in just a little bit. But even when you add post editing or a human validation in the mix, our turnaround time is significantly faster than what most people see with agencies. 25 times faster, in fact, with an average turnaround time of 2 days using our system and freelancers versus 50 days on average where people are using an outsourced agency. So those are just some of the benefits at averages, but let's get into specifics around cost savings. We don't share company name and private data in public, so you won't see any company names on what I'm sharing here. But a global financial services company started working with us. They're translating courses into 9 languages. They've seen an 88% reduction in cost using Smartcat, so even higher than the benchmark that you saw in the previous slide. And that's composed of the AI translation itself, so that machine translation, and then the post-editing using humans. So roughly 50-50 cost split there on the total of 15.6K. But you compare that to 128,000 that they were using before, massive reduction in cost. The other thing for this organization is they now have a trend line that they can project. How much will they save in 2024 as they increase their use of Smartcat? So they anticipate they will save over $500,000 in 2024 by shifting to a machine translation, by shifting to Smartcat. And that means that's $500,000 that they can use for other purposes. They can create higher quality content, like more video, more interactive content. They can translate more content, so they can expand their capability, not just translating, let's say, technical documentation, but all of the HR onboarding materials. Or they can expand to other regions. So in the past, they might have translated into 9 languages. They might choose to translate into 15 languages or more, or do more language variants. And we're seeing that with some of our other clients, like this medical device manufacturer, for example. They are translating into 13 languages. They have 7 Asian variants of what they're translating their training materials into. And it's very important to note that not all technology platforms will give you this level of granularity on languages. Like this device manufacturer, they're translating into simplified and traditional Chinese for different markets, for Singapore and Hong Kong. On the IT distribution and services organization, again, they're using a lot of regional variants, so they're translating into 14 languages. They just started with us in July and they're getting ramped up. So their savings right now is about 44K. Much of that is because they are doing a lot of initial training of the system. Also, their volume is not super high. But you can see across the board here, the savings are significant. This is not like, okay, I'm going to save 5% or $5,000, $10,000. These are hundreds of thousands of dollars that these organizations are saving by using Smartcat. And again, the ultimate benefit is better outcome, better ROI that they can present to management. And so if you think back to that first slide, improving the employee experience and better alignment with company goals, it becomes a lot easier when you've got this kind of extra funding available to really tweak your course content and make it the best that you possibly can, instead of having to invest that money into something like outsourcing translation. So Smartcat really is a great tool for L&D teams to help you get the best out of your own in-house resources. You can focus on developing great content, great courses, getting the results that you need, and leave it to us to figure out how to make that happen efficiently at the minimal cost, highest quality, fastest turnaround time. So that's been a pretty high-speed run through what we do and some examples. Let's get into how we do that. So I'm now going to hand it over to Jean-Luc, and he will walk you through the nuts and bolts of how Smartcat can help you achieve those kind of savings. Over to you, Jean-Luc.
Thank you, Coleman. So I will share my screen, and then we'll have we're gonna have like a demo of the application itself. Hopefully you can see my screen now. I think we're all set here. So as
Yep.
Coleman was mentioning, we do a lot of our customers work with articulated courses or storyline courses. They also work with different types of documents, So in Smartcat, you can import up to over 30 file formats. But for this, for the purpose of this demo, I'm just going to show you an articulated course being translated. Actually, I have Articulated 360 running right now, and I have a small course, that I can translate. What I'm going to do first is duplicate the course as for each the way it's made, the way it's done with Articulate for every single language that you want to translate into. You need to have a different copy of the course. Articulate doesn't support having multiple languages in the same course, so I'm just making a copy of the document here, and I'm going to export an XLIF file. The process would be the same if you go to Storyline. For example, in Storyline, you would just go on the file, translation, export an XLIF file, and translate that XLIF file. Now, one thing that we've noticed is that a lot of people come to us and say, well, I'm exporting XLIF files from Articulate and I'm translating them into, a CAT tool, or I'm sending that to my vendor. And when the files come back from translation, we're having a lot of errors, uploading the files back into Articulate. And in Smartcat, we've somewhat resolved this issue. The success rate of importing is probably 99.999%, So, and the reason for this is we have created a special parser for those voice files that are exported from Articulate, where we remove a lot of the formatting information inside the CAT tool. So then there are fewer chances of, like, for example, the translators or the CAT tool removing some of the codes, which means that when you re-import the file back in Articulate, you will not have the same problem that other people have. You once again go to the forum on Articulate, and you'll see a lot of comments from people having issues, with their files. So I've exported that XLIF file. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to translate this document in Smartcat, and I'll show you how easy it is to do. I'm going to click on Translate a File right here, and then I'm going to translate from one language, for example, from English into French in this case. And all I have to do is just drop the file that I exported from Articulate and in the box here. And what I'm going to do is I'm also going to translate not just the XLIF file, but I'm going to translate a video file just to show you that what can be done in Smartcat. We support all those different uh, file formats. You can see right now I've uploaded an MP4 video and I've uploaded my XLIF file here. Now, the one thing that's also pretty cool about Smartcat, we're talking about the AI integration, is that there's no need for you to worry about which AI engine is going to work best for my language. Everything is done in the background, so the system manages the different AI engines that you have available to in Smartcat from a lot of different providers. And then we choose the best one for each language. We're also going to leverage all your linguistic assets, your transition memories, your glossaries. Everything is happening automatically in the background. There's absolutely nothing for you to worry about. You can, of course, customize the experience if you want. And then Eager, further down this demo, will show you how you can even improve the quality of the AI translation using a couple of tricks, that he and his team are putting together, So, but right now, for this demo, I'm just uploading the XLIF file that I exported from Articulate Wise, and I'm also uploading a video. And what's actually pretty cool in Smartcat now is that I'm uploading a video. I don't need to have, for example, the script ready. I'm just uploading a video, and in Smartcat we have a transcription engine built in, also driven by AI, that's going to automatically extract the text, transcribe it, and then submit it for translation. We'll also give you the opportunity, I will show that to you inside the Smartcat editor. We'll give you the option to also review the output of the transcription, which is like, for example, those AI transcription is not 100% accurate, but we'll give you the option to review the output of the transcription and make any changes that you want, So you can see right now, the process is going on in the background. We have AI transition in progress right now, 41%. With the video might take a little bit longer, but everything is happening in the background. You don't have to worry about, again, the small details about the process. So now we have 100% completion. And what we could do from here is we could actually go directly to the editor, or even export the document that have been translated. But what we can do also, there's in Smartcat, as Coleman indicated, we have a 500,000 strong marketplace that where we have all those translators that you can hire to improve the output of the AI. Coleman was saying that the feedback that we've gotten from our customers is that on the first pass of the translation, you get about 95% accuracy of the translation. It's going to depend on the language, it's going to depend on the content that you translate. But if you're satisfied with 95%, you can just export the document from Smartcat and then just put it back into Articulate, for example, or export a PowerPoint presentation if this is what you're working on. But if you want to improve the quality of the translation, you can hire someone from our marketplace. And this is also where we have another machine learning algorithm running, is that, for example, I want to invite an editor to review my translation. If I click on invite editor, what's going to happen is that Smartcat is going to take into account the content that you have in your document, and also the content that some translators. You can see I have like an AI assignment option right here where I can click on invite, and Smartcat, by comparing the content from your document and also comparing the content that translators have translated over the past year on the platform, Smartcat will offer you an option, a translator. For example, you can see here that to translate into French from France, I have a suggestion of using Gaël Lehouk, and the reason that Gaël is being selected is because she has translated content in the past that's relevant to the content that's being translated in the documents that I've just uploaded. And you can also see more information about Gaël right here, like, some biographical information that she added into her profile. And then also use the deadline for this document is being specified. And then the cost is already calculated automatically based on the rates that Gael indicated in her own profile. We calculated that there was 192 words, and based on this rate, we calculated that Gael's post-editing will cost you $26, 26 euros and 82 cents in this case. And all I would have to do right now is just click on send invitation. Gail's going to receive an invitation, and she's going to start working. So once again, everything is fully automated on your side. There's no need for you to search for example, the best possible translators. Our AI will take care of this. So again, we take into account the language. We take into account not just the translators themselves, but the content that they've translated in the past that matches your own content, and of course, the ratings that those translators have achieved on a platform. In this case, someone like Gail might have got for example, a very high rating, which is the reason why she's being chosen. So this is something that I think we were like at DevLearn a couple of weeks ago, and the person making the presentation was saying that they saved an incredible amount of time, by having this automatic selection of translators from the marketplace rather than having to select vendors manually. So that's one thing. So you translate your document, you upload your documents in Smartcat, the AI translate those documents. You can assign the post-editing to anyone from our marketplace, once again, assisted by the AI to select the best possible vendor here. Now, if I want to review those documents myself, I can actually go directly into the editor, and let me show you, for example, what it looks like when I open a video in the Smartcat editor. Now, what you'll see here is that on the left side, we have the output of the transcription. And if you read through the whole transcription, you could notice actually based on the content of the video, which you don't hear, the transcription did a very, very good job. But in some cases, for example, like it said, Smartcat. Now, Smartcat is not spelled the way that we spell it. I can actually correct the output of the transcription. I'm going to save it, for example, and then the translation will have to be regenerated to match the corrections that I've made. But you can just go through the entire document, make changes into the transcription that was done by the system. To help you do this, you also have access to, the video itself. For example, I could actually view the video and then listening to the audio of the video, make corrections into the transcription itself as needed. This video also is also helpful for the person doing the reviewing of the output of the automatic translation, because they can see the transition in context, so it's also very helpful for them to have the video inside of the editor. Now, when you work with the video, once the transition has been corrected, you have options to download the videos. And if you're working, for example, with Rise, you can export the subtitles in a VTT format. But we also offer the option to export an MP4 with burnt-in subtitles. And Smartcat in this case is going to give you a preview, so you can see here, I can go basically frame by frame, and Smartcat is going to show me what the subtitles are going to look like. If I'm satisfied with the output of the subtitles, click on Start Video Export, and Smartcat will export an MP4 that will have the burnt-in subtitles. I can take this video, bring it back into Rise, and replace my existing video by a new video with the burnt-in subtitles. Some people find this a little bit more practical than, for example, just uploading a VTT file, where your users might have to just play with the CC button and then switch to a different subtitle, version. But here you have the burnt-in subtitles. There's no need for them to go back and switch to a different subtitle option here. So this is how we deal with video subtitles in Smartcat. Very, very cool. Now, there's another thing that's also very nice in Smartcat is we have what's called AI actions. And AI actions, if I go into my toolbar here inside the editor, you see there's a little button here called AI action. This gives me access to different buttons that I've customized myself, and Igor will go into more details on how this is done. But you can, program different buttons to do different things inside the editor. So for example, here, I'm saying that in this case, the French is like 237 characters. The English is only 173 characters. What I can do is I can ask the system to provide me with a shortened version of the translation that will fit better, inside the subtitles. You can see right now we went all the way to 164 characters, so, and so on and so forth. And I can use it, for example, to transcreate, to simplify. There's a lot of different things that I can do with those AI actions. And in fact, I have a second document that I can show you that's gonna where I can emphasize other aspects of the customization. So this is a Word file that I imported inside of Smartcat. And for the transition of this document, I used a customized transition engine. And again, this is a little bit of preview of what Igor is going to show you on what can be done. But you can see, for example, if I were to scroll all the way down to the bottom of the translation, you can see that I made some cultural references. For example, here in the English, it says it's like being in the ninth inning of a baseball game in the World Series. But in the French translation, they talk about being the last minute of the World Cup football game. And then we talked about having, for example, the winning team traveling 16 miles to be hosted by the president at the White House in Washington. But the French translation talks about going 26 kilometers. So we did the conversions from miles to kilometers, and to be basically hosted by the president in the Elysee Palace in Paris. I've also done the same transition for Spanish Argentina, which you'll see, there's also some cultural references, so for example, it talks about being in the ultimate, minute of a final of the Copa Libertadores, which is between different countries in South America, and also being received by the president in La Casa Rosada in Buenos Aires, which is the presidential palace in center of city, Buenos Aires. So by customizing those transition engines, you can really have a transition that's culturally adapted, without the person doing the post editing having to do a lot of work. Another example that you can use it, for example, I have a very complicated segment right here talking about quantum mechanics, a little complicated. What I can do by using AI actions is to make it, for example, simplified. So I can say, can you generate a translation that's a little bit easier to understand? Someone, for example, who might be like a sixth grade level reader might have a much easier time trying to understand, the segment. And of course, what we can do here is that, we can even infuse some transcreation in the transition. If you wanted to here, I prompted a button to do like transcreation. And if I were to click on this button, the system is going to generate the sentence, and you can see the sentence is longer, it's going to be more flowery. That's going to give you a much, for example, much more marketing oriented type of translations. So what we're saying here is that by using the AI, not just to generate the original translation like I did, with those cultural references, but while you're working in the editor, you can also get the assistance of the AI to give, the tone of voice that you want into your translation, or to help you with some common problems, which is, for example, reducing the length of the document, so that it fits, for example, like, in the subtitles, or if it fits in the space that you have inside your document. So now I've translated this this XLIF file, so if I could just, like, switch back to my XLIF file, and I can export it, and I'm going to show you I can export it directly from my editor here, and then I'm going to download it from as an XLIF file, and then I can take this XLIF file and bring it back directly into Articulate, and then we'll have now a French translation of the Articulate file. So I'm going back into Rise, import my translated text, and I'm going to choose the document that I've just downloaded into French. And you will see that, right now we have no issue whatsoever, no errors. And now we have a course that's been translated into French. And the format is being maintained. Like, for example, you can see those I have cards, inside my documents. It's been maintained, absolutely no problem, and there was no issue re-importing the document, So this is what I have on my side. I mentioned, some little tricks, that we have on our from Igor's team, and he's going to be talking right now about, how you can customize engines to achieve better quality, and give you a little sneak peek on something that his team is working on that's going to make your life easier when you work in videos. I showed you we generate subtitles right now, but Igor's got some much more, I would say, showy things, to share with you right now. So I'm going to stop sharing, and Igor, the microphone is yours.
Thank you, Jean-Luc. I was trying to quickly type in the answer before I'm live. Thank you so much, everybody, for your questions. We're trying to answer them live as fast as we can, but please keep the questions coming. So Jean-Luc mentioned that we will do more showy stuff. I would say it will be more technical stuff, probably. Let me share my screen and I'll continue. So one thing that I wanted to talk about today, two things that I want to talk today. The first is about how to customize your translation engine and optimize it for quality. So Jean-Luc gave some interesting, good examples of creating a translation engine that references some cultural things. So if you're translating from English to French, you're getting some cultural references for the French-speaking audience, and that's really great. So the way we do this is via creating those specialized translation engines via prompts. But there's also a way to do this on a different scale via creating a fine-tuned translation engine that takes your translation memories, and we process them, creating a specialized version of that engine that captures your voice and tone. That's something that can be updated periodically, and it requires quite some content, quite some data to work on. So if you have made translations in the past in Smartcat or outside with your vendors or in other platforms, and you have translation memories, or you have some transcripts, you have your XLIF files, etc., anything that contains source and translation, you can bring that into Smartcat, and we can take that data, take those revised translations that you had in the past, and use them to fine-tune translation engine for you. So fine-tuning is something that is done periodically versus ability to create ad hoc translation engines via prompting is something that you can do by yourself, and I will have a demo of that today. And you can instantly preview the results, and you can create multiple specialized translation engines. But before the demo, why is this important? Having a proper voice and tone, having good quality right from the start, essentially means that you have much less round trips. After the automatic translation is done, you have much less effort to do the reviews and to actually create the final product. So if you are trying to maximize your ROI, this means that you want to get translation quality as good as it possibly can get right from the start from this automatic AI translation step. So how do we do that inside Smartcat? Inside your Smartcat, in your workspace settings, we have lots of settings. One of them is empty engine presets. And Smartcat is agnostic of technologies. Our goal is to make sure that all of the best technologies, translation technologies available in the world, are available to you in a proper, easy-to-use form inside Smartcat as a platform. This is why we support lots of different file formats, different scenarios, working with videos. Somebody asked us about today in our Q&A session, section about different file formats. We support, I don't know, maybe 50 even more or even more different file formats, developer file formats specific to learning and development, TextLift, etc. And we try to do our best to support different formatting inside provided inside those files. So similarly, we work with multiple machine translation engines, and one of them is OpenAI GPT, which allows you to tweak the output, right? You can create different prompts so that the output is tailored to your needs. Here's one of the examples that might be interesting when it comes to video translation. So when you're creating this AI action, and you can define a system prompt that instructs what to do with target text. And right below that instruction, that system prompt, we also have a playground where you can go insert your text and then try that prompt on your input and see the result. So that specific prompt, what it does, it asks to split the text into two lines so that they are much more easier to read on top of the video. And to do that, in a proper context, so that's like taking in account the actual text, not just trying to split words roughly by the same length. So let me provide some example here. I will just copy and paste some random text. And this is just one line. And what I want to do is to split that into two lines quickly. So I'll just provide information about the language of that text, and I will run the AI action. And what it will do, essentially, it splits the text, and it uses comma as the most appropriate way to split text into two lines. So when you do that, you can test it on various prompts, see how that works, and then save that as an action and name that. And with that, you will have this QSplit AI action available in the editor. So you can go into any segment, press that QSplit magic button, and it will do the trick. Again, this allows you to quickly process the translations after they are made, so that it takes much less time for you to get the final quality result. But that's AI actions. We have the same thing going on for translation engines. So let me open one of the examples here, which I customized in a specific way. So general translation or generic translation engine just takes your source text, knowing the source language, and outputs the target. That's easy. But in certain cases, and probably more so in courses, you have some direct speech. And the actor can be a male or a female. So if you want the translation to be appropriate, like gender specific, you can do so. What I did here is I added an additional instruction that a direct speech should be translated from a female's perspective. And that tweaks the output. So when you are using this prompt and this as a specialized translation engine, which I called GPT-4 female direct speech, and you can use that inside your translation project inside Smartcat. This means that all of the text, all the translated text will follow the instructions. So I will provide a real quick example here. I will use translation from English to Russian, which is my native language. And in Russian, again, translations can be gender specific. So that's my source. And when I run the translation, I can see that the translation, again, adheres the like female direct speech. If I change that to male here, and then rerun the prompt, the translation will be different. So here I'm speaking from the male's perspective. This is how easy you can tweak your translation engines for specific needs. Interestingly, we also support, and that's another thing, that's another way for you to improve quality of translation, is to use glossaries. So in Smartcat, you can add as many glossary terms as you like. And if you have a glossary term matching in your source text, then you can also use that in the prompts to tweak the translations and honor the translations of those glossary terms. So in that specific case, I went to ride my bike. I can translate bike as a bicycle or a motorbike. So I want to use I want to change that. I want to add a term bike and say that it should be translated in a very specific way. So I will do that. And I will also provide the reference translation for the glossary term. Again, this is just a playground. Here you can add any terms you like and just see how the output behaves based on that. In real life, you will add those glossary terms, or you can upload them from your other system that you used before Smartcat. And again, after you upload any document inside Smartcat, we will match it and like cross-reference that with all the glossary terms that we find in source text, and we will use them automatically for all of the text that is in your document. So here I provided a reference translation for that specific word. And again, I will run the prompt. And based on that, you can see that the translation has changed to match that glossary term. You can create as many specialized translation engines as you want. You can do those cultural references, like the trick that Jean-Luc showed. I can just copy paste the prompt that Jean-Luc used here for you to understand what was going on behind the scenes. So the prompt says, you are a translator from this particular language, and this is a like placeholder that gets replaced with the actual name of the source language. So you're translating from like English to French, for example. Your entire response might be translation, but you also make sure to convert cultural references to references appropriate for the French, for example, version. You must also convert locations and so on, and units of measurement. And giving those instructions really makes translation engines shine in terms of customization. So many things that can be done specific to your translation subject, to your audience, to your style, to your tone and voice, that you can really save your time on doing those translations and doing post-editing after the automatic translation is done. So that concludes the demo about the customizability of translation engines. Let me see if we have any questions. around that. So we have one open question that I'll answer live. Donna asks, is it true that you need your glossaries uploaded before a project is started, or can you add a glossary after an AI translation has been done? We have projects we are working on in the past and would like to update them. So the way it currently works, before AI translation starts, we already have to have some glossaries, right? We need to match them and then run them through AI translation. So typically, you upload the glossary, you upload a document, and AI translation honors those glossaries. However, if you upload the glossaries afterwards and you want to rerun translation, that's something that you can also do inside Smartcat as well. For example, you can do this through AI actions, or you can just upload a new document, configure your project like through the project template to not use the original translation memories if they already contain those like outdated translations, if you will. And this will make Smartcat retranslate everything from scratch, now using your updated set of glossaries. There's another question from Paulo. I already have a translation memory and the glossary in Smartcat. Do I have to go through this GPT setup as well? So if you are using, if you have your TM and glossary and you want to use GPT translation, we provide a default GPT engine for you. I can go back here. I won't save anything. So you will essentially already have this GPT available as a translation engine. If you don't, please reach out to us. We'll configure your account so that it's available to you. This is not a good example. This is my personal example, but my point is that this GPT engine will honor the glossaries. So you can use them right away without making any changes to those prompts. You only need to do that if you want to like really customize, add some specific instructions. This is where you can create your own translation engines. Rob asks, how many preferences can I set up safe? So technically there's no limit. Well, there's technical limit, probably several thousands of different translation engines, but you can add your presets here. You can say, I want a new OpenAI GPT preset. This is a default prompt that we use, which honors glossary terms. But here you can go and tweak them, and you can also add multiple editor actions. Inside editor, if you have a lot of actions, you can configure them, and then in the same toolbar, you have a way to hide or show specific buttons so that you can have, I don't know, like 50 different experimental AI actions, but for your specific need, you just need 5 or 3. So you can leave just those in the toolbar and then quickly use them and use shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts to apply those AI actions. So I would say for practical purposes, the number of preferences is unlimited. Kelly asks, how would you train with the system? Would it be online or in person? What feedback have you had? How much money can you save? So I think this refers to this training. So prompts don't require any training. You can go ahead and experiment with your prompts and see the output. When it comes to fine-tuning, creating your translation engine based on the entirety of your translation memories, this is a process that we go with you as our client. So we take your TMs, you ask us to create this specialized engine. We take your TMs, we look at them, we remove some of the short translations which are not very good for training. And we run this through our automatic training process. It takes about a day or so. And after that, we give you a report, for example, a comparison between some traditional machine translation engine or generic GPT-based engine, and that trained engine that we create for you. And that report will give you scores, how close translations from different engines are to the reference human translation, and also give you examples where particular translation engines perform better than others. So given that report, you can see, or you can send that over to your colleagues who speak those like different target languages, and they can assess the quality by themselves. Ultimately, then you can decide whether you want to go with one option or another, again, depending on different contexts. We can take different TMs with different subjects and create, again, multiple fine-tuned versions. So that's our, I would say, our pilot. This is what we currently do for the clients who want to participate in this program. So far, we have positive results, like really positive results from our clients, and really positive output of our reports, which says that on average, those fine-tuned translation engines perform better than, for example, DeepL for common European languages. And we know that DeepL is one of the best machine translation engines out there. So this really tells something. So if there are no other questions, or maybe you have some follow-up questions that I didn't answer, feel free to add. With that, I would like to move to the next slide and talk a bit more about the future, what we're currently working on, because some of you already asked this in the Q&A section. So as Jean-Luc mentioned, we already have a way for you to upload the video. We do the automatic transcription, extract text from audio, and give you the ability to edit the text itself, like the source text, and then do the translation. After the translation is done, you can export either a subtitled track, or you can export burned-in, like video with burned-in subtitles. But ultimately, what our clients want and what we're working on is an ability to export a video with an audio track replaced by the dubbed one. And here I have a quick demo of a technology that we are currently incorporating into Smartcat that allows you to create like customized voices in multiple languages. So I'll play this back. Hopefully everything is set up on my end correctly. I'll just play those three clips one after another.
Smartcat has an integrated marketplace with 500,000 plus translators, editors, proofreaders, and agencies to fulfill any of your translation projects. You can choose different translation options such as AI translation, human translation, or a combination, automatic translation with professional editing. Thanks to Smartcat's payment automation system, you can hire as many translators as you need, collaborate with them with one agreement, and pay them all with just one invoice every month.
So now the same one, I'll probably not play the entire thing, but the same text, but in French.
Smartcat dispose d'une place de marché intégrée avec plus de 500 000 traducteurs, éditeurs, relecteurs et agences pour réaliser tous vos projets de...
And the Japanese version.
Smartcat は50万人以上の翻訳者、編集者、調整者、エージェンシーを要する統合マーケットプレイスで、お客様のあらゆる翻訳プロジェクトに対応します。
So what we hear here is we took an original video of a person speaking. This is our head of marketing, Andrew, providing, like donating his voice for good purposes. So he created a video and it was a couple of minutes of him talking, just pronouncing some text. And based on that, we passed it through the technology that captures, you know, his voice, and creates a model that allows then to create audio tracks in multiple languages. And you can see it really captures like Andrew's voice and personality. And that's something that we are working on incorporating into Smartcat. The way it will work is as follows. Today you saw how we currently work with video, right? And we give you some preview capabilities, live preview capabilities of the video and subtitles, etc. But what we want to do is really make sure that video editing is more robust, that you can add time codes, you can shuffle things around, make some tweaks and adjustments. And then within every single phrase that you edit, you would be having this like preview or like here button that will render the audio and allow you to preview how the that exact phrase will sound in the output video. Once you are done, once you have tweaked all of the translations, making sure that they are fitting within the given time frame, then you would be able to export the video with the dubbed audio track. So that's something that we're currently working on. Hopefully you will hear from us sometime early in 2024 about those features.
Cool. Thank you, Igor. If you want to just move on to the final closing slide, I recognize we're way over time. We still have some questions.
Yeah, we'll try to answer those questions. Yeah, in the chat, in the Q&A session, and I'll go to that next slide.
Yeah. And if anybody on the call, if you have to drop, we understand. We will be sharing the recording. Thank you again so much for your time. Hopefully you get a better picture of what Smartcat does and how you can apply it in your localization efforts for your training courses, and especially as you think about 2024 budgeting. There's a lot of good reasons why you should consider Smartcat as an alternative to using an agency for translating course content specifically. So with that, we're going to try and answer the last few questions, and again, look for that recording in a couple of days. All right, so we covered the question on preferences. Got another question from Rob. How do you protect your clients' data, i.e. they have sensitive data that isn't necessarily public information? I think there's two levels to this. One is our general security, and then the other is in the context of GPT or generative AI. Do you want to take those, Igor?
Yeah, of course. First, all of the data, well, we don't send for translation or for training more data than we need to. And the data is anonymized and pretty much shuffled. Like from the other system perspective, everything that comes from Smartcat is, regardless of how many clients we have, it comes from Smartcat itself, you know, from the perspective of the translation providers. So with that, and given our protection policies enforced by providers such as OpenAI and like DeepL and other translation providers, I think we offer the best-in-class data protection. Now, it's up to you whether you want to use certain features and use certain providers based on your company policies, but we do as best as we can to ensure that your data is safe.
And from a general content perspective, every client's content is containerized. Nobody can access anything else. And even within that, we at Smartcat, we can't access your content. If you use freelancers, the freelancers can only access the individual translated version of the content that you give them access to. So it's highly, highly secure. We're SOC 2 compliant. We've got multiple data centers around the world to make sure that we're compliant with all regional requirements for data sovereignty and security as well.
Yeah, that's a great point. Whenever we are doing training, etc., it's all containerized to your specific data. So we're not just taking everything that's happening on Smartcat, and then giving a generic translation engine based on that. So your data never leaks.
Cool. Got a question from Kelly. How would you train with the system? Would it be online or in person? What feedback do you have, and how much money can you save? I think you've covered that pretty comprehensively. It all takes place online. The system itself does a lot of the training. So I mentioned the 95% accuracy that you can get with AI translation right out of the box. That's based on the AI taking edits that have been made to similar content of yours in the past and improving the quality of the translations. As Igor also demonstrated, there are other ways that you can tweak the system. I don't think there's any component of that would require an in-person session. Everything is online.
Yeah, one thing that we didn't cover from Kelly's question, or the last question, how much money can you save? I think most of the savings will come from reduced amount of edits. We're currently piloting, as I mentioned, this with our few clients, key clients, and they see that they do edits less. I cannot currently provide any numbers of how exactly, what's the percentage of post-editing reduction or something. So that's something that is going on. I think we'll have some case studies as we gather more data. But it will be really interesting to work with your Kellys, for example, content, give you the trained engine, give that report to you, so you can judge by yourself how many more, or ideally how many less edits are needed if you switch to a personalized translation engine. And I think the last question is from Thorsten. Will we be able to provide an audio file to Smartcat and get it back in another language? Yes, please share your audio with us. We can give you an example of the output and provide you the output in a different language. That would be probably more for demo purposes. Ultimately, what we want to give you a UI where you upload the audio file, make tweaks yourself, preview that file yourself, and get it back. But right now, as we're testing the technology, we'll be definitely happy to look at your specific case and give you an example of the output that we'll be able to produce.
Great. Well, thanks for going through all those questions, Igor. For everybody on the call, again, thank you so much for your participation today and the extra time. And I put a link in the bottom of that last slide where you can book a private demo if you want. Just go to smartcat.com and click on the book a demo link if you can't remember that URL. And again, have a great rest of the day, and look for that recording in the next couple of days. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.